Uh, all right, Dan. We are not actually strangers, um, but pretty close. Um, but you were saying something. You said I told you to put together a pitch deck
In Orlando,
uh,
when we
in
ran into each other
Orlando.
at BBCon, you said put
Uh
together a
huh.
pitch deck because I was talking about needing to raise capital.
Uh huh.
And it's January 28th. I have not done that yet, but I'm going to do it this week.
You got a deal.
I've had a deal in the works for a while, and now it's time to raise capital.
No, no. It was time to raise capital as soon as you came across the deal.
Correct. Well, yes and no. Yes, in that it's always a good time to find people to raise capital. But two, I didn't have my numbers shored up because I was still in land acquisition phase of trying to put the deal together. So
Yeah,
this
but if you
is
had, yeah, but okay, I hear you. Okay, I hear you. I mean, as soon as you get close to a deal, you should start telling people about it, because then if
yeah,
they're excited, then you're like, oh, I have to actually close this deal.
right. And it's time now because I have
Yeah,
five.
now you're gonna be telling them it's short notice because now you're like, now I have to have the money right away, and they don't know anything about it.
No, we're still like 120 days away from 120 days to 6 months away from needing. I've been acquiring parcels kind of low and slow. I have 5 parcels. We're going to tear down the houses and go new construction for student housing on a college campus. I was hoping to get a total of 8 parcels, um, but I just continue to struggle to be able to get number 6 and 7. So I think we're going to just move forward with the 5. And now that I know that I'm going to be working with the 5, I can put together an actual build plan and have real costs in order to raise capital and start doing the right projections.
Okay.
So I haven't done my pitch deck yet, but
So you just call. So what you? So what do you? What are your? What's your angle here? You just called the.
no, 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 no. That just happened today. Like, I mean, I scheduled this call. So one, everyone, anytime anybody in the war room says, "Hey, I'm going to schedule some one-on-ones with people," I always try to take advantage of their offer, right?
Sure.
And especially, for you, we've crossed paths a couple of times.
Sure.
I think some of it is just I want you to know what I do because you're really good at putting people together. So that if you come across people that say, "Hey, I'm interested in getting into student housing," you can say, "Hey, I know this guy. He's building ground up student housing. He's probably a resource you could talk to." So I do new construction, student housing, and luxury short term rentals. I buy properties with the intent to they're either vacant lots or they're tear downs to turn them into short term rentals in the Florida Panhandle.
Okay.
So, but I did have some questions for you since you're offering your time and your expertise. One of the things I've been struggling with is some of this video stuff um, with just like my camera setup right here for my Zoom. Right, I've got this gigantic 30-inch monitor. I know that it looks like I'm looking down because I'm not looking up at the camera. The camera sits up on top. Problem is, if I take my glasses off, I can't see anything on the screen. And even with my glasses on, really what I want to be doing is leaning forward like this so I can read what's on my screen. But, now it's just this gigantic picture of my face. So what
So
what what do people do with their cameras so that it looks like they're looking at the camera, but yet, someone with glasses, it still needs to be able to see the screen, see their notes.
um, you can do one or two things. You can do what I do, which is I have my screen here and my camera's here, and I'm just not looking directly at it. Or you can do what I sometimes recommend, which is a teleprompter. Now the screen's going to be small, but you can put a teleprompter with Riverside or Zoom right in with a teleprompter. So instead of a screen, it's Zoom. So I'd be looking right at your face, and it would look like this. Now, I have a new teleprompter on the way, actually, but but then you go from a 30-inch monitor to a 7-inch monitor. Also, based on the setup you have now, I'm like, dude, you got a lighting problem, not a camera placement problem.
That I know, correct. Yes, I know I have a lighting problem. I've
Yeah. So
got
I
a
actually,
lamp
what I did,
off
I did two
here,
things. I
you know,
developed, I
to
developed a
to my
very, I
right,
did,
to the right side, and I've got this over here. I had a lamp sitting up here, but it was just overshadowing everything. I got like a commercial light that I was trying to bounce light off the door frame that sits over there, so I could have some reflected light from the door off the ceiling. And I know that I acknowledged I have a lighting problem.
this is all light. My
Right.
setup is all light. I got a good camera and a good lens, and that's important. Good lens is important, but like, I like this same camera, same lens, no light. This is objectively worse.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll try to tone out or use the tone functions on the display so that a brighter display screen from the monitor will shine the right light. But then that's just direct blinding light. There's not an angle, there's not an overhead. I used to do a little bit I used to be a hobbyist with photography, like 10 or 12 years ago. So I kind of understand the light concepts. Certainly not an expert with lighting.
So
Um,
I can help a little bit or a lot. Here's what I do. Because people ask me this every day, I have a quick little $200 mini course, a course on a lot of light placements, and but it's fairly, it's a 40-minute video. And then I have a service that's more expensive, but it's a lot more involved. And people like Adam Whitney and Hugh Carnahan have hired me to make their Zoom and YouTube setups. Oh, you there? Did I lose you?
yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I think I lost you for a second. Adam Whitney and Hugh have hired me to help them create some good looking YouTube frames, but it's a lot more involved. That's 4 or 5 phone calls, Zoom meetings,
Yeah.
ordering equipment, and walking you through it step by step. So I'm happy to help, but I do offer that as a service. I that's more involved because it's just not something I can solve in 30 minutes.
No, understood. Understood. Um, I know that you did start that. So my goal is not to be like a podcast guy. My goal is not to be like a YouTube guy. I have some social media stuff that I need to dig into better. But as far as like this setup right here, I think I'm just trying to make it, make it a little bit better. I'm not looking for a gigantic studio, but I know that the lighting is odd. The angle that I'm working is odd because I've got my monitor and camera set up in the corner of an L shaped desk. But I'll look at your $200 course, um, and kind of just start from there.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not trying to like. I mean, I don't use this to sell anything.
Oh, I know, I know.
It's just like this right here, this setup. This is not. This is art. This is 8 years of understanding placement and lighting and art and like and equipment and whatnot. So I'm happy to help. I love talking about this stuff, but I just want to like I'm just making it clear like this is not like everything is. It's just not very simple. It's art. It takes time.
Yeah,
So, um,
yeah.
but yeah, you don't also have to be a YouTuber. Like I don't do a lot of YouTube, right? I do mostly Zoom setups. But when I'll tell you this when I talk to somebody on Zoom, even if it's just a little, chit chat, it's like, dude, I like looking high quality. I
Mm,
like that it looks cool and that it looks high res and that I'm displayed in a way that I like. And then I have my art in the background and it's got my personality to it, I mean, even the pink, So,
yeah.
so I recommend, I like your setup too. You got a lot of personality behind you. It's just a matter of like, how can we highlight it with
Think I lost
lighting?
you
How
for
can
a
we
second.
highlight it in a way that's makes you makes people know they're talking to you.
I heard up until I like your setup.
Oh, I said, yeah, I like, your setup looks good. I love the composition and like all of the backdrop. It's just, there's ways to use lighting to make it highlight it to make it more you.
Right. Yeah. Put the background to the back and put me to the forefront.
Yeah. Yeah. Separate the back, like separate the background and the foreground. Make sure that, people know there's a subject. It's just art, dude. There's a lot to it. It's art. So
Yeah.
it's not just people go
How
like,
does the
Alex, how do I look like that? I'm like, dude, I can tell you how to look like that, but you got to understand, it's like, it's 8 years or 9 years of me
Yeah.
figuring this stuff out. It's not like I can teach it to you in an hour. So that's why
Yeah,
I started
for
building some
sure.
stuff.
Well, how does this audio sound? So I've got this Yeti Blue microphone. I have no idea what it sounds like if it's you know, a, that if it's the same as wearing AirPods or playing with the built-in microphone or not. I don't know what the audio quality is on the other side of it.
It's good enough.
Okay.
It's good enough.
So the other question I was going to ask as a content creator, what one of the things I've been thinking about doing with my luxury rentals in advertising and the listings is as well as the social media associated with my short-term rentals is like bringing in like models and more lifestyle type photos with regards to the short-term rental listing. Do you have any opinions about working with models specific for short-term rental listings?
Models like people?
Yeah.
No, I've never had anybody ask me that before. I've never
You
hired a
know,
model.
family of four, playing in the pool. We thought about doing a sped up video to show actually how long it takes to get down to the beach from the house.
Oh, I love this. Where do you live?
I live outside of Atlanta. My houses are in Florida Panhandle.
Oh, I might, I might be able to help. I don't know that many videographers, but dude, I would find a local videographer, right? And I would find a local family or friends or somebody like that lives down there and say, hey, can I pay you to go hang out at my property for a day and you know, do some acting
Yeah.
and yeah, create some promotional media. That's what you're asking. Create some promotional
Yeah.
media for your property. Some like, some drone footage, maybe some yeah, a bunch of B-roll, a bunch of like families. You want people to be like, "Hey, here's what the property actually looks like."
Yeah, because you see it with like hotels. You go to a Ritz Carlton website, and almost all their outdoor photos have people doing whatever the amenity is they're trying to show off. And part of me, I've been on the fence about it because I'm like, no one seems to be doing this in the short term rental space. So, am I wrong for attempting it because no one else is doing it? Or on the other hand, do I need to do it because no one else is doing it?
You need to do it. I create media for syndicators that nobody else in the world creates. Right? I put the syndicator on the ground in front of the property and I say, "Tell me about this property. Tell me who you are." Nobody else is doing that. They think, "Here's some generic drone photos and your projected returns." And they just they're like, "We don't need it, Alex, because we're going to do paid ads." And I'm like, "What if you didn't have to spend as much on paid ads if people could buy into your story? If they could
Hmm.
see themselves as being part of the deal?" So nobody else is doing it, and I think they're all dumb. And the people who use me to make those videos all love it. They're like, "That saves us money. That doesn't cost us money. That saves us money." So if you go out there and you spend $1,000 or $2,000, or, maybe $1,000 a property, and you're like, "Hey, I want a family friend, and to go out and use this property, and then a videographer to spend a day, and whatever it costs, right? $1,200 a day or something like that,
Yeah.
maybe some more, depending on how good the person is, and yada yada yada." Like that's not that much money versus
Correct.
what it could make you. So like, first off, what's the risk? You're like, "Oh, nobody else is doing this. Am I dumb?" I'm like, nobody else is doing it. I always assume everybody but me is stupid.
I feel that way with a lot of the stuff that I've done because
Just
I went way over the tip of my skis with my first project, and every project afterwards is 10 times out of my comfort zone.
good.
So,
Yeah, I don't. There's no risk. If you, the risk is you spend a bunch of money, it doesn't help. But I just don't see how it can have zero impact.
yeah, especially, I was looking at, well, I just made a reservation for a Ritz-Carlton to go. I was made the reservation yesterday, but I was just looking at their, their media that they have on their website. It was just like, why is this not happening in the short-term rental space?
Um, it's not. There's a lot of media missing in a lot of the space, and it's just because people are slow. So it's not. No, you're right. It's them for sure. But like, don't delay because um people are gonna figure it out,
Yeah. Okay.
and then you're gonna be the late one going. Shit, I knew it before them.
Yep.
No,
Well,
I would, I would get on that, right? And here's what I would do. Like just riffing, I would, you know, go to a local video. I would go to my friends and family who live in that area, and I'd say, "Do you know any videographers? Do you know anybody that could help me, create this media for a day as actors?" And just poke around. You'll find somebody.
yeah,
And then you'll be like,
I'll
what
be
kind
able
of?
to find somebody.
Yeah, you'll be able to find somebody.
I mean,
You'll be able to find
it's
somebody.
worth the cost to try.
Yeah, and like now you're getting into this realm of art. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna hire somebody, and maybe they're good, and maybe they're terrible. So you come into that realm where I'm like,
But
if you
it's the
get
first
somebody with,
step to, get great.
yeah, because
I know I'm not going to step into great.
well, you're not gonna step into fucking Hollywood cinema
Yep.
for 1,200. This is a mistake that most people make. They hire people like me, and they see a camera, and they think, oh, $600.
Yeah, not 600 bucks.
And I'm like, I don't know, bigger pockets for the 2 day and 2.5 day conference that they pay me. I give them a discount. They pay me 7 grand
Yeah.
for pictures. So so I'm not saying you need to pay all that money, but like just understand, you know, understand that like you can try inexpensively, but you're not gonna get world class. But then if you're like, hey, this works, we can maybe sink more money into it, or maybe you can sink money into one of them, not all of them. So like all these different
Yeah.
things, you know.
Well, I've got the new construction one, and that's the one that I want to focus on because that's got the most potential to have a significant increase in revenue over the next couple of years.
Wait, what is it?
Um,
What is it that you want to do with this one?
the short term rental, I just want to add some more lifestyle type photos to the website, the social media that's associated with the listing.
So let me send you something I do, which is I kind of do what you're asking. It's a what I do is I create media just like this, but instead of for customers to rent my place, I do it for investors to buy in. So, but you could have both. You could have something where you're like, "Hey, I'm going to build this new place." What if you had some video of you like boots on the ground at the dirt with a backhoe behind you, and it's like, "Hey, we're going to build this thing." Now you have now
Correct.
you have video before the thing is built.
Yep.
Then, you do it again once the place is built for the customer.
I did some of that with the social media pages and then broke it out into two separate social media things. So one is to kind of target real estate investing, and the other is target the consumer or the guest. So I didn't do a good job with it because I didn't start with a solid plan of taking a consumer from the original moving of the dirt to furnishing and being actual ready for the first guest. It was very um, intermittent based on how many times I was making trips down to Florida to check the progress of the construction.
Yeah. So that's another thing. Like a lot of what I do, like I love traveling and stuff. Right now it's a little bit hard because I live in Maui, which actually I think I'm gonna move back to mainland here pretty soon. Um, specifically because I want to do gigs like this. I mean, maybe I'm not a good fit for exactly what you want to do, but I love this idea, dude. I think you're on the right track. It's just about finding the right person, and like sometimes maybe they have to live there. Maybe you can fly some people around. Um, I love this idea. It's just a matter of like, again, finding the right sort of like what do you want to make, who's it for, and then who can make it. And that's not always easy. But I like the idea.
Yeah. Okay. We'll start there with the one. So I've got I have two other new construction projects that they're probably about to kick off. One I may push back 2 or 3 years because it has an existing house. While I don't love the house, I love the location, but the house is limping along and paying for itself. And I got my capital in other projects, but I've got another vacant lot down there where we're probably about to start moving dirt here in the next 2 weeks. So I could put together a bigger, more thought out process of construction. Part of that would help because I'm thinking about trying to write a book about new construction stuff because I don't think there's a lot of real great books out there about new construction, especially for the novice that needs some help. So if I could
Yeah,
document that process along the way, then that would help that as well.
yeah. I like all these ideas, Dan. You suffer from the same problem that I do. Shiny object. I mean, I
Yes.
know you want to. I know you hear. I heard you want to write a book about new
Yes.
construction, and then you didn't write a 7-page pitch deck for a property
It is.
that you want to.
Those are factual statements.
And I'm not saying this to bust your balls because I'm guilty of the exact same thing. But like, I always tell people when I'm in a position like this, I'm like, I'm fucking it up. Do you want to be like me?
Yeah. I
Do
think
better
it's
than me.
it's the well, I don't know how to explain it, but if I start to pour into 100 things and 10 of them are successful, then I'm successful.
I feel the exact same way. I just want to. I want you to know how it sounds on my end.
Acknowledged.
That's all. I'm not. No judgment. Like I'm here to.
The other
I'm here
projects
to.
I have going on, student housing over at a D1 college in Alabama. I mentioned I've bought 5 parcels. I'm leveling the 3 houses that exist. I'm going 3 levels high. We're looking at about 148 bedrooms.
Dude, I will say this: a few things that excite me about what you're talking about. One, I am super hot on development. I want to learn development. I want to be around development, and so and then two, if you want media, I do media. Now, I don't know that we can fully 100% overlap just because I won't be in town till April. Also, I'm expensive, and I don't know if you want to spend the expensive that I am. But
More
that being,
concerned in who I selected, be more about the value, right? I get that quality work is not cheap.
yeah. Well, it also depends on like, can you get somebody? Look, I can help no matter what. I'm not saying I'm the right guy to do it, but I can help no matter what because I love the fact that you value that, and most people just, many people don't value it to their own. You're like nobody else is doing this. I'm like because they're stupid. So the fact that you value it, I think you should definitely put some resources into that and get something. Be like,
Hmm.
oh, we got some media for it. It's not exactly what I wanted, but I know how to articulate that better, and I can help along the way. Two, I'd love to if we could find a way to be involved in some kind of new construction plus capital raising plus media. That highly interests me personally. So if we could find a way to like, that's what I'm going to syndicators right now and be like, hey, I want to help you raise money and I want to do media for it to do it. And actually, I'll send you some stuff um, that I've made that should be like, I think you'd be really surprised about um, what I've done.
Okay.
Um, because it's maybe not exactly what you want, but it's in that realm. So
Yeah.
uh, all this stuff sounds good, dude, and it sounds like you're doing. You know what I love too? I love that uh, you're like, hey, I haven't done that much social. You're like, I'm too busy doing it to like spend the time to do the writing about it. It sounds like you need a marketing partner.
I do. I don't want to be a great content creator. I know that that's just not how I want to spend my time. I like building projects from the ground up. I like looking at stupid, ridiculously large pieces of land and trying to think through what could be. I just went last week. I went down to Florida. I looked at 1,400 acres in order to develop 750 homes. It includes an established golf course. That's so far outside of my skill set, but I'm willing to pursue it until somebody tells me no.
Dude, you know what I love about this business? I've been in this business for a while now. Come on, about 10 years I've been doing this business, real estate. And the older I get and the wiser I get and the more experience I have, I've noticed that there are people fall into certain archetypes. And I always like meeting a guy like you because one, they're not that easy to find actually because you guys are usually quiet and in the background. But there's people who are like doing real business and not telling the world about it, and those are my favorite people because then there's people like me who I'm loud as fuck about nothing. I mean, I do business, but like, there's people that are just like, I'm not even a great marketer, but there's people that are just loud, and all you hear is from the loud people. But generally, if you're spending all your day being loud, it's like, how much time are you doing business?
Right, right. And the term I use, and I was conscious of this in and around BPCon. There's so many bigger personalities, not just when in the bigger pockets community, but just the social media aspect of the BP world. Trying to differentiate between real estate investors and people trying to gain clout on their social media. And like I want to talk to like the real estate people that are willing to be bold.
Um, so I fall into I think of myself in a very unique category where I am, and I'm curious. I don't know what other people think about me, but here's how I feel about myself. I'll say, I'm loud, but I am very anti fraud. I am very anti gray area fraud. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on the internet telling people stuff that I'm doing when I'm not doing it. And so I'm kind of like you. I really look for people that are really doing the work. And I really am good at ignoring a lot of the BS. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of BS out. There's majority
Yeah.
BS out there.
Yeah.
So that being said, um, if you ever, well, I'm trying to think of how I can help you. Um, why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you, in addition to putting together your pitch deck, which I
Yes.
really want you to do now, and I can help. I can maybe send you a
You're right.
template or something.
You sent me your template. I have it.
Okay. Well, then now you're just a jackass.
Yes, you are
um,
correct. But I was willing
um,
to admit that to you.
no, I appreciate it. No, yeah, yeah. It's like judo. You hit somebody and they're like, you're right. And I'm like, well, that doesn't work. um, but no, I would love for you to like think about who I can introduce you to. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of operators. I know people that are actually doing business, but I don't know who is a good fit to help you out. So like, I can make a little assumption or whatever, but it'd be interesting to I would
Okay.
love to introduce you to some people that can do some work, and I'd love to find a way for you and I to work together because I love that you're in the weeds doing the work, and maybe me doing my piece can be a good fit to assist. Where I'm like, okay, I can help you be loud, and I don't have to maybe
Okay.
necessarily put you on camera. Maybe I will because I'm really good at taking people who don't want to be on camera and looking and sounding good on camera.
Man, it's going to
But
take a lot. It's going to take all 8 years of your experience to make this look good.
that's okay. I've been bullying people a lot longer than 8 years, so it's a so. um um but no, I think there's ways to that excites me. So and like I said, I'm gonna be back in mainland in Austin, which is not that far from the Panhandle, somewhere around mid April. So maybe we can find a way to collaborate.
Okay. I'm talking. So tomorrow, I'm talking to a potential partner on a vacant lot over on 30A inside the Panhandle. I don't know how familiar you are with the Florida Panhandle.
Well,
Um,
I worked with Bob Preston and Jeremy Hans for a bit, and they are in Pensacola.
okay. So 30A is a county highway. It's, some people know it, Rosemary Beach, Alice Beach, Seacrest, Seaside. Seaside is where the Truman Show was filmed. It's like a very high end destination for beach vacation. There's a vacant lot I'm looking at, and here's the other thing I struggle with. People call me crazy all the time. It's like my
Good.
tear down. I paid $1.5 million to intentionally tear down a house, and so the price points are so high. People think I'm just crazy, but the numbers work out.
Well, I love that because
So
that number scares me. So the fact that you've done it makes me very, dude. I'm telling you what, Dan. I love this whole conversation because I don't know.
I
I
was
just
I was talking to people about paying $8 million for a vacant lot, but the
this is in
numbers
Panama
work out.
City.
No, well, this is east of Panama City or west of Panama City. If you're trying to find it on a map, look up Rosemary Beach.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, okay. And what are you gonna build there,
Large luxury vacation rental.
dude? Dude, well, I got people you can partner with. What do you need? You need money?
And would need capital for the purchase of the lot as well as the construction loan.
How much ish?
$3 million.
That ain't nothing. Put together your pitch deck.
That's for That would be for multiple projects. There's two vacant lots that I'm looking at right now.
Here, do me a favor. Put together your pitch
Here's
deck.
rough numbers. Here's rough numbers. So
No,
the
no, no, no,
lot.
no, 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 no. Put together a pitch deck. Keep it simple. One deal. Keep it simple. Here's why.
Okay.
You're gonna tell me the numbers. I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna forget in a cocaine heartbeat. That's why I need the pitch deck.
So a lot across the street from me. Dude paid $4.6 million to tear down a house. He's building two houses. Each house is now listed at 15 million. So he's probably into the whole project 10 or 11 million. He's probably going to have a $25 million, turn on it.
Do you
So
know?
he's gaining, $10 million in the course of 2 years because he was willing to purchase house for 4.6 million and tear it down.
Um, let's. All right. I know two people right off the top of my head that the one that does luxury rentals and one that raises big money for luxury properties like this. So one of them just and I just became a partner. So I can introduce you to some folks. Let's stay tight on this. I like this idea. I mean, I need, and this is where I think I can help, but also I need you to like get the grunt out, get like the rough out. Is I need you to make here's why a pitch deck matters. If I go to somebody and I say, hey, I got this guy that you don't know,
Correct. Yep. I
and
got it.
here's who he is, and you just have to trust me. It's like I need something to sell them about you.
Yep.
Something, not just sell them, like I need something to get them excited to get you on the phone so that they're not trying to explain it. You're not trying to explain it all at once. It has to be on paper. So that's why the pitch decks are so important because they're like, here's
Yeah.
my idea. Here's what I want to do. Here's who I am. Here's my experience. Here's why I know this is going to work. Here's how you're going to make money. This is what I need. Here's how you can participate. All these things. And dude, I'm so good at this. I can super help you put this together, but I need you to put a 10-page. Well, let me ask you another question before I ask you to do something how on a scale from 9 to 10, how miserable does this make? Is it just something you haven't done or is it something that really drains you?
It's just something I haven't done.
Okay. Well, then go do a draft
Yep.
and I will help you. And I like everything you're saying. And it fits with what I want to do. So selfishly, I'm like, dude, we can both win. If you want to, if you want to, if we can find a way that it fits everybody. But
I think
yeah,
there's
dude,
a lot that people don't know about new construction, and the meat that's on the bone once the house is done is so ridiculous. So, my rookie deal, I paid $320,000 for a beachfront lot in the Florida Panhandle. I thought I was stupid for buying a vacant lot. I built a 5 bedroom, 3,400 square foot house. I pulled out my retirement and just rolled the dice. So all in construction land, I was all in at like 1.4 million. it appraised at 2.4, and I did a 65% loan to value cash out refi, and pulled out 1.56, paid off, the loan, got all my capital back, put 150K in my pocket.
All right, I want to be a part of it. Give me some slice.
Okay.
All right, do me a favor. I gotta end this, but here's what I need from you. And I'm gonna follow up with Tyler on this, but like, I would love for you to get me a rough pitch deck about what you're trying to do now, and then I will help you build the V2 because I want to sell people on Dan. Like that story right there, it tells me a few things. It tells me one, you have resources because you either need resources, experience, or you know, a network. And I'm like, dude, you have all three, right?
Yeah.
So now you just need some loud, which you know me. So now we have excess,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
let's put together a rough pitch deck. I'll help you put the V2 together. I will talk to some partners. I'll set some meetings up and like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, what if we could, fund some more of these deals? You do some more of these deals. I'd love to do some media, and yeah, I mean, it sounds exciting. It sounds interesting. I really want to learn new construction. Um, I've been really wanting to learn new construction, and I love this area. I love luxury beach rentals. I love them in places that aren't like super super overwhelming, like Wilmington, North Carolina, or Carolina Beach, which just got bombarded over the last few years. A place where I think it sounds like it's not mega universal popular. It's not like there's room to grow. So, and I have two partners in mind that would love this particular opportunity right off the top of my head.
How do I get you a pitch deck?
You build it in Google Slides, and then you mail it to me. And here's what I want you to do. I don't want you to dwell. I want you to get the rough draft out. I don't want you to make it pretty. Because here's what we do, Dan. We don't make them pretty. We make them, we put all the data in there, and then we go to Upwork and we pay somebody $400 and they make it pretty.
Okay.
So don't make it pretty. Just get the information on there because I want to get it out of your head. I want to get it on paper. And I want you to tell me, what the property is, who you are, what your experience is, what this deal, like why this deal exists, how did you find it, why do you like it, what do you need to complete it, what's the projected returns, when do I get my money back?
Yep.
You know this stuff.
Yep. What email address do you want me to send it to?
Send it to this one, Alex. I'm in the process of switching email addresses. Just send it for now. Send it to alex@lifeandlens.media.
Okay. Got it. So you're most interested in the luxury vacation rentals. Any interest in student housing stuff, the new development?
It's new construction.
Yep.
Yes, I'm less interested in student housing, but I'm super interested in
Large
new con-
multifamily.
in new construction. No, but you know what else? And here's what people have been asking me a lot lately. They're like, "What kind of asset class do you want?" I'm like, not super, not super. I've learned, and maybe I've learned wrong, and there's definitely flaws to this, but I'm so much less interested in asset class and so much more interested in operator. And I look at that story, all the stuff you just told me. I'm like, okay, this guy is capable, and has experience, and has guts.
Yeah, guts. You
So,
yeah.
well, and a track record. So I'm like, okay, I want to work with people with those. I want to work with people with those qualities on deals that make money. I don't care so much. It doesn't have to be some specific property as much as I'm like, okay, Dan's going to do something because you know what? And here's the thing, don't take this the wrong way or whatever. I'm like, I'm not trying to be like, hey, you and I are going to only work together going
Mhm.
forward on every deal. I'm like, that's not what you want. That's not what I want. But I'm like, hey, if I can play a small part in helping you get one of your deals done, that excites me.
You
So
there?
it's not so much that I like student housing, it's that I like Dan Slaughter.
Okay. For now.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for you to prove me wrong.
That's right. I just, as I was starting my real estate journey, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to invest my time and resources, and single family rentals just wasn't it. I would have to have 40 or 50 of those to replace my W-2 income. I quit my W-2 job last year so that I could focus on this full time. I do these projects that put me way outside my comfort zone, way outside my experience level. And just like this golf course that I went to look at, last week, I told somebody, I give myself a 5% chance of actually closing on 1,400 acres.
Okay.
However, the lessons that I'm learning along the way, trying to get to that no, is ridiculous.
Yeah, I love that. Pushing deals forward as far as they can possibly push. I love that.
So, I just even starting with who's the right team I would have to put together. I've had conversations with consultants. I've had conversations with, golf professionals to talk about what, because I have all their financials. And, what should a golf course operate like? Most of them operate at a loss. And so then it's got to be, the loss leader for the houses that you're putting around it. And I can do that. I can do, 20 or 30 houses at a time with the right builder. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know along the way, and I'm in the phase of trying to identify what I don't know so that I can get to, more importantly, what do I not know.
Um, Dude, I love it. You got me hyped up. I love this. Yeah.
Well, that's a compliment. I got you hyped up.
Dude, what's funny is I've been, well, I kind of got to cut it short, but like I've been I've been doing cameras for the last 2 years and not real estate, and that's been a very good experience for me, both in a pragmatic and a metaphysical way, because I'm
Hmm.
learning about myself and about the world and what I'm good at and how I can be useful. And so for the last probably 2 months, I've been like, dude, I need to get back in real estate. I love my camera. My camera is not a, I don't want to live as a camera person, just like I don't want to be only a real estate investor. I want to live somewhere in between the two.
Hmm.
And for the last year and a half, I've been doing only cameras and no real estate. And I don't want to do only real estate and no cameras. So it's funny. As soon as I started saying, kind of like you, as soon as I started pushing and saying, I need to talk more real estate people, like the amount of opportunity that is just sort of like that I look at and go, hey, how can I help? How can I be useful to to Dan? Because like this project excites me. Um,
Yeah, a lot of people don't like new construction. You don't. It's a long timeline. You don't, or how do I? And just like talking to the investor yesterday, it's like, how do I convince an investor to invest with me, knowing that we're not even going to earn the first dollar of revenue for probably 18 months,
yeah,
right? So how much level of comfort does that guy need to have in me because it's not an immediate return?
I just partnered with a guy who I've been wanting to work with for a long time. He does luxury boutique hotels on the
Mhm.
coastlines. Been doing it for 20 years. He just raised $8 million in 2 weeks for a property that has a 3 year capex timeline. No payouts for 3 years. I don't know if he'll love
Yeah,
this deal,
yeah. See, those
but
deals,
it's
they
but it's
exist, but you
but
don't
it's
know
pretty
they exist.
close.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what that looks like. Maybe I don't know what that looks like, but it's worth having a conversation between the
Yeah.
three of us. So let me that's why I'm like, but I don't want to go to him and just say, "Hey,
Got
here's
it.
a phone call with
Yeah.
a stranger." I'm like, "Hey, here's an opportunity. Here's who it's with. Here's this person's track record." Like where I'm good, where what cameras have taught me more than anything is not just like how to make things look good, it's how to tell a story. And people
Hmm.
don't buy deals, they buy stories.
Hmm. Yeah.
People don't invest in deals, they invest in stories. They invest in people. And so, if you're like, hey, I got this guy, he's an underdog, nobody knows about him, he's shy, let's say, he's shy, but he's a worker, and he's got this property in the coastline, it's right up your alley. Um, he can do it. He just needs capital, and for you, it's not that much capital. And now you can like, maybe you can he can. It's enough to get a conversation going. Um, so I love. So that's why it excites me because I'm like, dude, this is problems that I can help solve.
Awesome. That's
As for the
awesome.
student housing, as for the student housing, if you just want to hire some media people, like I would maybe start having some conversations about like who can be your actors and who can do the videography. I can maybe help you vet a videographer. I don't think I can do anything with you for probably 3-4 months at the least. Um, if you want to talk about that, if you're if you're not on a short timeline, or if you really want to work with me or whatever the case is, that's a different conversation. We can have that conversation, but um,
We're
I can help.
probably 4 months away from, at the earliest, breaking ground on that. We're still working with the architect um, to put together the actual build plan. And we're looking at 148 bedrooms. It's a combination of 3 bedroom, 2 bedroom. But I just closed on the fifth parcel a couple of weeks ago. So now that I know I have at least the five, now I can put an actual build plan together with an architect. Because before I just had the 4 parcels, which amazingly, from a real estate perspective, that was amazing because I got 4 parcels in one deal with seller financing, 2.5 years interest only.
Dude, you're a beast. Let's stay in touch. Don't be a stranger. Let's not wait 6 months to talk again, because I hope I can help. So
Yeah,
let's
I will
let's
send you the pitch decks to correct my whatever delinquency from Orlando. But
here.
I got to get that stuff done.
I'm gonna send you a Google Doc real quick in
Okay.
the chat here. I don't know if you can see it.
Chat. Yep.
And so that's just whatever, 10 questions. And it's like, hey, if you can answer those questions fairly thoroughly. And again, what I don't want you to do, Dan, is I don't want you to become 12 questions. I don't want you to become a perfectionist. I want you to make 12 slides that answers all those questions in a highlight format, and then
Uh,
get it to me get it to me ugly, because your goal is not to sell me. Your goal is to include me. So
okay.
get that stuff out there, and then we can do a V2 and a V3. I do probably 10 versions before I actually take anything to market. So like what I don't want you to do is wait because it's not perfect. It's like, let's get something on paper.
Okay. That sounds good.
And then we'll make it pretty and Upwork for $200, $300, something like that. You can get somebody great to make it look nice.
Okay.
And then let's plan on talking in maybe like a week or 10 days. I'm going out of town, but I always have time to talk. So let's just plan on talking again in a week or 10 days. And,
All right. Well, I live
and
outside of Atlanta. If you're up in this area or if you're from the Florida Panhandle, I'll come down there and show you what I got.
um, nope, I'll be in, I'm going to Virginia, and then I'm going north to DC.
Okay.
But I know some people in Atlanta. So, anyways, yeah, and Tyler Gold has helped me build out a CRM. So, like, what I'm going to start doing when I get somebody new in my little world here, I'm going to be like, man, what I'd love to do is what I'd love to do is be able to go into my CRM and say, who lives in Atlanta, and get a list and be like, start a fucking group text
Yeah.
and be like, hey, all you people live in Atlanta and you're all friends with me. So you all have a common enemy. You guys should be friends.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
How many deals have you done?
I have 8 properties right now.
Nice. All right. This is the longest 30-minute hard stop meeting that I've ever taken. Here's what I'm gonna do, Dan. I'm gonna stop this recording, and I'm gonna ask you 2 questions, then I'll let you go. So I'm gonna stop the recording, but don't
Okay.
leave, okay?
Okay.